Right, welcome back to the Blues Focus podcast. I can't really explain what I've just seen from Jamie, but we'll brush over that. So that's but yeah, welcome back to the Blues Focus. Welcome back to the Blues Focus podcast. This week I'm joined by Jamie and Zach. Good evening, boys. How are you?
All good, all good.
Good man, sound. Couple of days off
Wicked.
now, so I'm just chill.
Yeah. I mean, like I've got half term as well this week. So well, it's not half term, it's like continuing development week, as they sort of phrase it. So yeah, it's off the back of a losing defeat. It's a losing defeat is the same fucking thing. But yeah, disappointing game on Saturday. We kind of lost a little bit of momentum from the Burnley game. But we've got a bit of a for the first time, it feels like a bit of a disagreement on the podcast because Jamie, I think Zach as well, feels like we played pretty well. And although I know that we played well and we had good spells, I don't think we played particularly well. So, boys, we'll start with you, Jamie. Actually, how do you feel like we played on the game
I,
on
f-
Saturday?
I feel like we were tired, especially the first half. We looked the first 20
Mm.
minutes to let them have that first goal was for appalling defending. But I'd say coming into before that first goal went in, you've got Chong in the post, you've got Hogan going for on goal a couple of times. All the play was us, I think, in terms of the probing attacking play was us. We were sitting back on the counter and it was working until they scored. I don't know. I weren't at the game, so I don't see what you see. Do you know what I mean? I just
Mm.
saw it via obviously my computer, but for me, it just looked like we pressed most of the game and dominated most of the game. They were crapping themselves at the end, and they are
Yeah,
lucky to walk away with 3 points. And it's the first time in a long time I've been happy with the performance and annoyed at a loss.
yeah, I, I
Yeah,
I definitely agree. The fact that we definitely pushed them. I just think though that we don't create enough. Really, we have a lot of the ball, but particularly on Saturday, Chong was a little bit off. He kept miscontrolling the ball, kept giving the ball away. And I feel like we're playing some decent stuff, but we sort of get stuck in two minds at times. And I feel like players like Bielik and Bakuna sort of get pushed out of the game, or what it feels like anyway. Excuse me. It just sort of like we don't get the ball to Hogan enough. We don't get the ball to Deeney enough. We need that sort of we need that bit where we're always on the attack and the ball's always with the strikers. It's always sort of in the middle of the pitch in those type of games. And when you saw it on Wednesday night, when we had chances, it was always in and around the box. It wasn't like when we had opportunities to put the ball through, like it was on Saturday, it got closed down or we miscontrolled it and then the ball would break down and then they'd have an attack. Whenever Blackburn were on the break, the ball it wouldn't be an attack that wouldn't be finished. Like those attacks where the player intercepts it and then they take the attack on.
Mhm.
It would always get to their strikers and they'd miss it. Brereton Diaz would miss it, or Gallagher would miss it. Or in his case, at one point he did score, which we'll touch on actually because Gallagher did a celebration that we're not very happy with.
Good.
So I feel like it was a good performance, particularly for a team that's joint top of the league. I think still, um, but I feel like we need that little bit more sharpness, that little
Mhm.
bit more switched on towards the bits of the game where we absorb a bit of pressure. Because you're right, we did start the game very well, but it wasn't very long until they scored afterwards. So when Hogan had that shot at the keeper, and when Chong hit the post, that was in the first 10 minutes. But then they score pretty much 5 minutes later. So it's like we've gone on and had a bit of an attack. But then when we need to absorb some pressure within those next 5 minutes, we've conceded. So it's like that's the kind of thing we need to do. We need to get better at. If we concede, it would have been like we should have done like what we did against Burnley. So when they finally did score, it was into the second half, deep into the second half. So it must just be like conceding early. I don't know what it is about that. Whenever we seem to concede early, it's always like downhill from there. I mean, the Rotherham game is a perfect example, really. When we conceded early, there was just like nothing else happened from that point onwards, and that's why it was kind of positive to see us get back into the game. Hogan, good finish from Hogan. Like I said on the vlog, I'm trying to cut him a little bit of slack because I do get picked up for moaning about Hogan a lot, but it's only because I wanted to do well, of course, and I feel like he has done well this season. Um, so yeah, I've talked a little bit there. So Zach, what did you think to the game?
yeah, I agree with both of your point of views, to be fair. I think I agree with you, Jamie, and overall I think it was a good performance given the amount of games there's been recently and the calibre of Blackburn's side. I think we put in a good showing, to be fair. I mean, we created plenty of chances. I think we had 17 shots in the end or something. So whilst our finishing wasn't there, our chances created were good. But I agree with Tommy in the sense that at times we were a little bit sloppy. Whether, like I said, that's just because we're playing so many games at the moment and players are tired. I don't know. Nerves, who knows? But at times I agree we were sloppy. Um, I think again it's nice to see us getting back into games because I think I said it last time a year or so ago. We go 1-0 down, 2-0 down, game over. There's zero chance. So it's nice to see us go a goal, 2 goals down, but actually look like coming back into the game and scoring. But overall, I thought the performance was decent. It's about what I expected, to be honest. I expected us to go there and give a good showing, given our form. I think I said on the poll I didn't expect to win, and obviously we didn't get that. But in terms of Blackburn and how they're doing this season, I think overall it was decent.
Mm. Yeah, I think we can all agree that we were wasteful in front of goal. I think that's what we all three of us have said in those little bits there. Um, I just feel like, again, trying not to be too critical of the misses that we had. I just feel like though that any other striker in the championship would score those chances. If it was Mitrovic, you'd know that you would kind of almost accept it, and it would be a bit of a surprise if the keeper did come
Mitrovic
out and
walks
make
away
it.
with the match ball in that game.
Yeah, we were saying before the pod as well, if we had a Che Adams up front, we would have won that game, no doubt. I think Hogan, like I said, I think it's his best season in a blue shirt so far. But on Saturday, he could have had 2, 3, even 4 goals. I think there were a few opportunities. He had a couple of one-on-ones, didn't he? That he
Yeah,
did waste. But if that Hogan was replaced with the 2018, whatever, 2019 Che Adams, we would have picked up all 3 points.
and it wasn't like he wasn't upset about those missed chances. I remember obviously picking it up in the game. You don't see it on the vlog because obviously there's a lot to pick up in terms of the crowd and the opposition and the players on the pitch and everything. But I immediately saw once he missed that, his head dropped into his hands, and even at the end of the game, he came over and clapped the fans immediately, and it was off down the tunnel after that, and you could see he was devastated by it, and he really wanted to keep up that good run of form. And although he did score, to take every chance he gets, it's important for him being a goal scorer, being a poacher. And so I've never criticized his effort and work rate. He's always been very hardworking. He's always cared. I just feel like that, sometimes his ability does let him down, but that's okay because things like that happen in football. And to see him upset and frustrated with himself, obviously, like I said, with his head in his hands and everything, I feel like that's fair enough. He's tried to score. It's not like he's not tried to score. It's just that the keepers came out who had a blinder. Kaminsky, I feel like he was up there. Oh, he was man of the match
Yeah,
for Blackburn. Yeah,
yeah,
so I
he
feel like
was.
he was very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, it tells a story that Kaminsky got man of the match, doesn't it? I think in terms of you saying there that you pick on Hogan a lot, I think there's probably a reason for that and why most Blues fans do. I think in terms of what Hogan's asked to do for this Birmingham City team, his sole role in that side is simply to score goals. And I'd say he's a little bit different from the likes of Deeney and Duke because they're asked to hold the ball up a little bit more, come back defensively because of their strength, win headers in the box, both attacking and defensive. Hogan's sole role in that Blues team is to score goals. And when he's not doing that, when he's not doing his job, it can be frustrating. So I
Yeah,
think that's probably why Hogan does get the brunt of the blame a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, he should have scored more than one at the weekend, despite how well he's doing at the moment. But I think it's quite easy to pick on him at times because he often doesn't do his job as he should be. Um, Frustrating for us and frustrating it for him, I'm sure, because he knows he should have got more at the weekend. But yeah, he can be easy to target, I think, just because he doesn't always do his job.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hard one to sort of. Yeah, I completely agree. Actually, yeah, because he's only got one job as such. He doesn't get picked up for his work rate up front, like Deeney does when he's closing down players and he's winning throws like he did on the weekend. I thought that was great when he came on, Deeney, and he won that weird sort of throw that sort of bounced off the corner flag and went out for a corner
Mm.
ball. I thought that was great from him. Excuse me. Um, Yeah, it's with when you see Duke and Deeney, it's like you can pick up on that. Even if they don't score, it's like, yeah, solid game today. But if Hogan doesn't score sometimes, it's kind of like, yeah, well, poor game then. But he could have done
Mm.
exactly the same as Duke and Deeney. But because that's not his role, like you say, it's I do feel sorry for him. I really do. And I don't in the heat of things, sometimes you can say things that probably you don't really mean afterwards. And I feel like that's quite often with Hogan because I sometimes just go, oh, fuck off, that shit. And I do that a lot. And but there again, like everybody does when they're at the games, it's an
Yeah.
instinctive reaction. It takes over you. You get frustrated with things and you say something shit, but only it's when you. It's with my case, I can't go back and edit that and change that what I've said because it's already been said. So I can't then not put the what I've been saying out on the vlog. I can't do like a voiceover saying, well, I do criticize Hogan and, do that sort of
Yeah,
proper
yeah.
essay on myself. It's sort of like that's what sort of the vlog is. It's very like in the moment sort of thing. It's like a piece in time almost. It's like this happened here. That's what
Mhm.
happened on the day. These podcasts are more like a reflection on those things. So like
Mm.
when we're talking about them now, we go, yeah, Hogan, he was better. He could have scored that goal, but there again, fair play for him to get in the goal. And
Mhm.
I feel like that sort of shows with the reaction I had at the game as well. A lot of people saying like, it wasn't that bad. Stop whinging. I saw one of the comments saying, I was like, well, I'm not whinging, but I see why you think that because it does look like that. But again, that's only at the time. When I got back in the car, I started having a chat with my dad and my brother and saying, maybe we played better than I thought we did. Maybe I need to have a look. Actually, I said this to you guys as well on the group chat as well. I said that maybe I need to look over the highlights again. And looking over the highlights again, we did play pretty well at times, but I still remain my point saying that we should have played better, really. Because I mean, the second goal really stood out for me. I mean, I don't know about
Yeah,
you two.
Yeah.
The time allowed for him to turn and
yeah.
take that shot into the far corner. I mean, unlucky to John Ruddy, he still got pretty close to it. He was never going to save it, but it's stuff like that. I don't know. Like Jamie, what do you think about that second goal? Because I thought that was poor.
So avoidable. We let them
Yeah.
have way too much time, and I think that might be counterproductive with Wednesday against Burnley, where we put so much work rate in and so much effort.
Mm.
I loved how Bakuna played. I thought he had a decent game, but I think at the same time you could see how much Hannibal was missed
Oh,
in that first
100%.
half.
100%.
Like it was
Mhm.
that side where they were just breaking down it, and I was watching every pass, and I was like, just please tackle him. Someone put a foot in. Someone
Yeah.
push at him. Why is no one pushing at him? Great fucking 2-0.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
and it's
No,
just
it's
Yeah.
like,
100%.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think the first goal from Blackburn was a decent goal, to be fair. It was a nice ball down the right. I don't think there was a load we could have done differently. The second goal, I completely agree. I think it was Austin Trusty sort of just let him get closer and closer and closer. And don't get me wrong, it's a good finish. I don't necessarily expect him to score from there. But yeah, we should have closed him down better. But I agree. The fact we did miss Hannibal, I'm surprised he didn't start really because I saw the
Mm.
team come out and I was like, is he injured or something? Like, I think obviously we know Eustace is very adaptable. The starting 11 each week seems to change, which is fine. But I was very surprised to not see Hannibal start.
I'd like
mm,
to think about what his thoughts for that lineup were. Not because it was a bad lineup, of course, because I think any lineup we stick out at the moment looks good.
Mhm.
I just feel like, particularly against a very, I don't want to say possession based because I don't feel like they did that much, but
A
against the
strong attacking
Welsh,
side for sure. They're definitely a strong
yeah,
attacking side. So I think
mm,
a more defensive midfield would have been better.
yeah, I agree.
Um, but I mean, Bakuna can do defensive roles as well, can't he? So
Yeah, maybe it was a bit
yeah.
too attacking. Chong and Bakuna and only Bielik sitting in that midfield three, and then you've got
mm.
Chong up front.
Well, Hall played, didn't he?
Hogan and
Oh,
Hall
Hall,
and
that's it. Yes, of
yeah.
course. I was one player short again on my fan hub. Honestly, it's
Mm.
just flipping heck.
I think I think we genuinely did do okay. I'd like to think maybe if it weren't fatigue and Troy and Scott start up top and
Yeah.
Chong moves back into that kind of role he plays, I think we win that game or we draw it.
Mm,
I think, given, and I'm not saying anything bad about Chong, I thought he tried and his effort was there, but his touch, like we've said, and his finishing was off.
mm.
But I think if you give Troy the chance that Chong had, it's 1-0.
Oh, well, yeah, yeah. Because
Mm.
that's the Premier League class and Troy
Like,
Deeney. The experience is there with him.
yeah, it was. Do I think I think the subs might have been a little bit late. For the first time, I'm going to whinge about something, but I think I was screaming from about the 60th minute. Troy, Hannibal, get them on. Like we're
Mm.
battering a team. This is the time you full send it now and get these boys on. Like
100%, 100%. And like I said, I was surprised to see Hannibal dropped. I do get it though, because I was surprised to see obviously Bakuna dropped after that fantastic performance against Hull. So it shows that almost no one in this Blues team is safe in a way. You
Mm.
could have a cracking performance one week, but it's quite a nice problem to have, the fact we've got this depth that we can afford to drop. Last season, if Bakuna put in a performance like that against Hull, he'd start for the rest of the season under Bowyer, no
Mm.
matter what he does, wouldn't he? But
yeah,
it's nice to have, even if someone does have a good performance, it's nice to have those backups and just to change things and teams will assess us. They'll do their analysis a week before, so to then give them something a bit different to think about on the weekend, I think it's good management, to be honest.
which
It's
is
a
perfect.
yeah. It's a good sort of I can't think of the word. It's like an eye opener almost for Eustace as well, though, because he's seen what works against certain teams, certain different styles and teams, and maybe he feels like maybe George Hall's not quite ready to start a game just yet, because although he did well and everyone did well in their own way, it's just like you could tell that he was more impactful when he came on,
Yeah,
like he did against
yeah.
Burnley.
I think I said that in the last podcast. George Hall is certainly at this stage in his career, being so young, he's certainly a more impactful player when he comes off the bench compared to when he starts. Maybe it's just that energy he brings in the last 10 minutes of the game. I don't know, but George Hall is certainly a better player when he comes on compared to starting the game.
Yeah. I, I don't know how to say it. Do you guys think that we kind of focus too hard on stopping Bertrand Diaz from scoring that we just shit ours and let Gallagher have his goal? In
Maybe,
terms of we were
yeah,
focusing so much on Diaz that we forgot about the other guy. Because that
yeah.
first goal, just like, how the fuck has he got that much space?
I can't really remember it to be honest. There's a
It was
chance
like a
down the
ball
left
across
hand
goal,
side.
and he's just literally ran
Yeah.
in and tapped it into an empty net, and I'm just like,
Mm.
oh, jeez,
It was
Yeah, I saw Sanderson behind Gallagher for that goal, but from what I saw, Sanderson couldn't get in front of him in time. I didn't see where Trusty or Dean were in the build up to that goal, to be fair. I didn't pick up on it. From my point of view, it just looked like a goal that we couldn't have done much about, but now you mention it, see, he did have a lot of space, Gallagher, didn't he? And for
and
someone who's,
Diaz didn't have much in that game really.
no, he was quiet, wasn't he?
And it looks like
yeah.
we were set up to be like, right, there's the danger man, get to him.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
And obviously, anyone who played with Sam Gallagher under that era, like probably if Harley Dean was there, was he there when Sam Gallagher was
yeah,
there?
he was. Yeah,
He probably
He
didn't mark
was.
him because he was like he was fucking shit for us. So there's no point marking
yeah.
him. He couldn't score. He couldn't hit a barn door.
He was absolutely hopeless for us, and the fact that he ran away with his sort of cup in his ear like that, I'm like, nice. You were absolutely appalling for us. You could barely, like you say, couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo. It's just genuinely like you scored a couple of tap ins. You're still pretty shit now. You play in front of what 4,000 fans at home every single game who were just as appalling as you were for us. It's like I don't know. It was a weird sort of game, really. And I don't think that we should have conceded either of those goals. But we did, and we didn't score enough as well, and that's why we lost the game, and that's why I feel like we deserve to lose that game because in previous games where we played against, like we've got a point against Watford, we've lost to Norwich, we've took them to the very end, and it's us who've conceded late on or stuff like that. But when we get back into games, yes, it's great to see, but I almost prefer us throwing it away or losing it because it's like we took the game to them in that time.
Yeah.
It was like with the 10 minutes left when Hogan scored, it was like, oh, now we've shown up. Why
Yeah.
now? That if you, I don't know, it's a weird one to sort of explain, but that's kind of how I felt. It was like, great, we've equalised, but why did we have to leave this so like we've already had chances in the game before to bring it back? So I don't know. It
Yeah,
was an odd game.
I don't disagree. I feel second half we certainly showed more attacking threat. I think, to be honest, I think the whole game we showed a decent amount of attacking threat. I agree with you, Tommy, though. The last 10 minutes is when we really turned it on.
Mm.
Whether Blackburn were sitting deeper and weren't pushing for, because they certainly weren't pushing for another goal. Their aim was just to completely hold that lead. So whether that made us look a more attacking side, I don't know. I mean, I think it is telling that we had 17 shots. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've seen Blues have that many shots in a
I
game.
think we had
I
more
think,
possession as well,
yeah,
as
we
did
had
Way
60%, 57%, something like that. So we were the dominant side. Whether we should have won, I don't know, but certainly at least a point for our attacking, opportunities and the way we kept the ball. For me, 100%, we deserved at least a point from that game.
Yeah. I mean, I can see why. I don't agree, but I can see why you would think that. I just feel like if we deserved a point, we'd have kept the ball better. We'd have created better chances than the ones we had. There was the only two I can really think of that we didn't score from. Oh no, three. Sorry. The Chong hitting the post in literally like the first minute or whatever.
Yeah.
Hogan's chance in the second half where he puts it straight at the keeper, and the same with Bakuna when they had that chance. In chances that we created for ourselves, I can't really remember any, but I can remember loads from the Burnley game on the Wednesday night. The one that Longello made down the left hand side. Deeney puts it through to Colin. Then there's the one in the second half where Longello at the back post. With Duke a couple of times as well. Like I can remember a few times against Burnley on that night. But compared to three that we were kind of then the other ones we had were like snapshots really. That's why we kind of mounted to 17. So like to say that as a stat is why we deserve to draw. I don't really see that as why. I mean, maybe Duke as well at the end. But that's about it really. Like four main chances. We only took one.
We were wasteful in front of goal because I think we could have scored 3 or 4. Because you're right, Hogan had that chance in the first half as well. Remember that sort of tiki-taka football? I can't remember who played the back heel, but that's one chance. Chong's chance, Juki's chance at the end. Bakuna had 2 shots. He had one from inside the box in the first half, and then one from range second. There was that one. There was Hogan's second half chance as well. I'd say genuinely we had 6 or 7 opportunities where on another day we genuinely would have scored them. I think
I agree with that.
I think our chances created were fine. I think we did really well there. It's just our finishing, and it's not the first time we've said that last season. I think against Middlesbrough, I want to say we were similar, and a few other games this season where we just could have scored more than.
Well, definitely against Wigan, that's for sure.
So would you say a striker in January is something to look at?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think so. I think we need someone.
It's with like Choi and Hogan at the moment. That's about it, isn't it? Because Duke as much as I love him, I want to reiterate this just in case this ever gets clipped up properly. I love Jutkiewicz, but his time has come up because that header he had, it was like it went in slow motion, honestly, because at the time it felt like it went on forever. The ball comes into the box, he sort of heads it, and then the ball just sort of slowly moves across, and the Kaminsky palms it out for a corner. I just like if he was 4 years younger, that would have flown into the back of the net. He would have absolutely bullet headed that into the bottom corner, and that away end would have gone absolutely mental. And that's why I feel like we need a new striker in January. Because who knows, we might need it. I mean, we were vaguely talking about this before the pod as well. If Bielik goes in January, if Bakuna's interested by a few Premier League teams in January, how are we going to change the team? It's kind of like how we were last season when Riley McGree went, when Dion Sanderson went, when Matthias Sarkic went. The team sort of fell apart after that. So if this is something that the board are going to have to consider. If this does happen again, if Bielik does go back to Derby, if a Premier League mid to low Premier League team takes Bakuna, what we're going to do, and if God forbid one of our key players gets injured as well, these are backup plans that the board are going to have to consider, and the manager's going to have to consider. He's going to have to bring up names. So, it's kind of how it is, really.
Yeah, I think a striker is much needed. The thing is, it only takes 1 or 2 injuries as well. Let's say Deeney gets injured and Hannibal Mabry gets injured, then the squad's looking quite depleted just after 2 injuries. I think defensively we're fine, in my opinion. We have, we have the likes of Tate Campbell, Marcel Oakley, Williams as well. We've got, Graham. We've got options there defensively. Midfield wise, I think if Bielik goes, we need to bring someone in. If not, I think we'll be okay. Jordan James as a backup. who comes on. George Hall sometimes plays midfield. I think midfield wise will because we've got to spend if we do spend, we've got to put it in the right areas because we don't have millions of pounds floating about. So I think if Bielik stays, we can get away with not getting in another midfielder. If he goes, I think we need it. And certainly, yeah, completely agree. Another striker needed. A, just in case there's an injury. B, who knows, they could be the player to bag us 20 goals in a season, couldn't they?
That'd be great.
Oh, man, I mean, Jamie, do you want to do the biggest club legends that we've got here just before we get onto the QPR game?
Oh, our little discussion.
Yeah.
So obviously we had who's a bigger club legend, Jude Bellingham, Lukas Jutkiewicz, or Che Adams? And did we all kind of agree?
Well, I don't know, because I think. Oh God, this is difficult now because I'm going between two. I'm going between Che and Duke, because although Jude is a proper Blues legend in terms of like him going on to be the best player in the world, I just don't see him as big a player as Che Adams or Lukas Jutkiewicz, and I'm trying to decide between Duke or Che, and I don't know. It's really difficult.
It is tough, isn't it? That's why I wanted to bring this up because I saw it the other day and I picked one at first and I thought about it and I picked another. It's a tough one, isn't it?
Jamie,
I'm fine. Jutkiewicz.
Duke, yeah.
For me as well, Jutkiewicz for me, yeah.
No, it's Jutkiewicz. Don't get me wrong, Che was phenomenal and he's one the first striker to get us 20 plus goals in a season for a very long time. But he weren't there long, and Jude kept us basically from probably liquidation by when we sold him for 26 mil. So he'll always be a hero for that. I hope that one day he returns. But Lukas Jutkiewicz basically spearheaded us, in my opinion, to 3 survivals.
Yeah, and that might convince me. Actually, I'm going to go with Duke because as well, I think that Che always had the potential to go on and be a great player as well. Whereas Duke, he was coming towards the end of the season. He had a bit of a disappointment with Burnley, and coming to us and proving his points and getting so many goals. I mean, how many goals has he scored for us?
What, Dukey?
Yeah, he must be.
Didn't he get 50 last season at some point, or was that something? Let me have a look.
It might be 50 or something like that.
I think he hit 50 last season.
Which is astonishing, isn't it? It's like
so he scored 8 goals when he was on loan with us in 20 games, and he scored a further 48 after that. So he's on 56.
I'd love to know how many are headers. How many do you reckon?
Almost.
I'm gonna guess about
60%.
And that is something I do moan about with Jutkiewicz. Again, not trying to be critical, but Djukovic's feet, he just can't use them, honestly. He's left-footed, fair enough, but he can't use his feet. One free kick I think I've seen him score with his feet. Everything else has been with his head.
Is that when we used to roll it and he just smacks it?
Yeah, it is. It's against Rotherham, that free kick is. The other two, the other one is with his foot as well. He got a header and 2 ones with his feet, but it was a tap in and a free kick. So, again, not taking it away from him because the guy's an absolute legend, but it's mostly headers, let's be honest. I do agree with that sort of stuff like that, yeah.
But we do love him.
Duke.
Do we feel like if he goes, he deserves a testimonial? Yes,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
100%.
I know it's meant to be 10 years, but I'd still think he needs it.
Deserves it, doesn't he? He's been with us since 2016 and he's scored some important goals for us. He's been a great servant. He's been loyal. 100% deserves it, 100%.
And we all know it as fans, even if we're 3-0 down and Jutkiewicz scores a tap in, we'll all go mental because it's Jutkiewicz.
Loving it.
If Duke was to have a testimonial, who would come back to play in it?
Jackson.
Yeah,
Maghoma, yes. I've been loving his YouTube videos recently.
They're good, aren't they? He just uploaded, I haven't watched it yet. I think him reacting to the Blues Blackburn game, so I'll have to watch that. That came out like an hour ago, I think.
Yeah, so, I was watching a little bit before.
What are the odds that he'd be watching something like this? Jacques, if you are, mate, do you want to come on?
We'd love to have you on,
Right. Hit us up.
Would be glad. Yeah, there'd be so much to talk about, wouldn't there? There'd be so much to talk about.
Yeah, we could talk to him about Rowett and Monk and what it was like under Clotet and his departure from the Blues and everything. Yeah, we'd love to have you on, mate, honestly, because it'd be great to have a proper chat, talk about the Blues, and yeah, anything. So yeah, we'd love to have you on. Yeah,
He was a hero.
Mm.
He was so
yeah, it
good.
was quality. Yeah, I just think that he was one of those players who always got overlooked really with the Blues because although he was, you got the Player of the Season in the 17-18 season. I always felt he did so much better as well because like every single time that he got on the counter attack, he just fucking flew away every single
Oh yeah,
time.
he
He had
was
so
quick,
much
man.
pace on him. It was wicked. It was like,
And he was skillful as well. Like he just
yeah,
took
yeah,
players out of the
really good,
game. Like
skillful player. Yeah.
Mhm. And I think it was this one. There was one season I remember it. Well, I remember it really well on the whole. I think there was a game. Oh, who was it under? I can't remember now. It escapes my mind, but it was quite an important game. And I think Jonathan Grounds and him scored. We were at home. I'm trying to think who we played that day. I think we won 2-0. Might have been a Huddersfield or a Blackburn, I'm thinking. But I remember he picked up the ball from like halfway. Yeah, dribbled around a few players and scored. I really can't remember who it was against.
I remember his goal against Sheffield United, which was under Monk at the end of the 17-18 season.
Did
Roberts
he?
scored in the first half after Mark Duffy had scored for Sheffield United. It went in 1-1, and then he scores on the break to make it 2-1. I was literally right down
Mm,
the front to watch that. That's the one I'm thinking of. I don't know about 2-0 or anything.
let me have a
Yeah.
look. I remember Jonathan Grounds definitely scored that day.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it might have been Huddersfield. I think it was the season that do you remember the last day of the season we played Bristol City?
And Che
Um,
scored, yeah.
yeah,
I
I
don't
reckon it might have
think
been a game before then.
Yeah, well, the Huddersfield game that season, Ground scored from the back post after Duke missed a penalty, and then
Yes, that
Gardner
was the
scored from
game.
a penalty.
Was it Gardner?
Yeah, I don't know about the
Yes,
Maghoma
you're
one.
right. You're
Yeah,
right. Oh, I remember that game. I swear Maghoma had a mazy run or something though. That is, you're right. That's the game I'm thinking. But yeah, Maghoma scored some good goals for us, didn't he? And tell you what, at the time he was one of the few pacey players in the team, which was
yeah,
was Cottrell there at the same time? Was it him as well?
Cottrell was
Oh,
there, I think.
Yeah.
is this the 17-18 season?
Mm, maybe I'm thinking a little bit before that.
Maybe the season
Yeah,
before. He
Mm,
was another class player. He was.
yeah.
mm.
I mean,
Had some decent players.
one of my good memories about Maghoma scoring actually. Actually, no, I've got two. Um, the first one's the Wigan away game, when he gets that back post header and we win 3-0. I mean, that game was just absolutely amazing. Like we're singing Christmas songs at halftime. It was that good. It was just like everything was going perfectly. And then the goal against Stoke on Boxing Day, I genuinely screamed when it flew into the back of the net. He took it on his right foot. He fucking hit it. And it's just something you could see it through, like just soar into the far top corner. It made me scream. I was just like, what a goal that is. I was
Is
so
that the one
confident
where
we'd
he
win that
blasted
game
it?
as well.
Is that the
Yeah.
one where he like dribbled through four people and blasted it near post into the roof of the net? Or what team was
No,
that?
no, no. That's the one against Stoke is it sort of bobbles out and towards him and he takes it, he's sort of hovering around the right on the edge of the box. He takes it out on his right foot. He just hits it far top corner past Butland. It's the one where Omar Bogle scores that amazing
Oh
40
yeah, yeah.
yarder or whatever it was. That was
I
amazing. That was,
remember
it was
that.
an incredible day. Any other players that we can think of?
David
Oh,
Cottrell,
Memorial. David Cottrell.
yeah, that was
big,
good.
big Lee Camp,
Yeah, Lee Camp
Oh,
has to
Lee
go in,
Camp,
surely.
Lee
That's
Camp.
a
Michael,
great shout.
Michael Morrison.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Michael Moore. Oh, these are good shouts, Jamie. You know the Gardeners, maybe Craig Gardner,
yeah.
Gary Gardner, both of
Craig and
those got to
Gary.
be
Yeah.
in.
Jonathan
Lee Bowyer.
Grounds. Lee Bowyer could go in, yeah.
Zola managing one of them.
Oh,
Ita
imagine.
Karanka is the other one.
Yeah. Wes Harding, maybe
Okay.
someone like that.
Maybe
How
Wes. I
about
don't
yourself?
know.
How about yourself?
Grounds, definitely.
I'd say
Troy would probably do it, wouldn't he?
I'd go
Lee
for
fucking Novak.
Lee Novak. Did he
Oh,
play for the Blues at that time?
Got to be around about that time.
I think he might have left just before that. I'm not too sure. He might have
trying to think
done.
of some other players we could get in for that. That would be really cool.
Royce Wiggins. Does anybody remember him?
Yeah, when he got injured
Bournemouth
at the
left
middle,
back.
didn't he?
Yeah, he played for he played for us one game, was it, against the Villa, and got injured. Never played again. Genuinely, like it was absolutely. He was wicked for that game as well.
Yeah, it was a horrific injury, wasn't it?
Yeah, David Davis. That's one.
Yeah,
David
He had
good
to
Davis.
play in
shout,
that.
David. Clifton Bell, maybe.
Kifton Beld, yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
didn't
Shay could be
play.
up for it.
Che, maybe, yeah.
I
There's loads. Duke's really played with a lot of players. He's been here for such a long time. It
Yeah,
feels like
yeah,
we've
so
just
I think,
signed
Harley,
him. Yeah.
Harley
yeah,
Dean.
yeah, I was about to say
Mm.
Harley Dean, probably Colin as well. He's been here for years, and he
Do we bring
Never
Jota
happened, but
back for
Jude.
it?
Jota's just retired from football,
Yeah.
which is
He never
pretty
should have
mad.
gone to the Villa.
No, it
Honestly,
was in
he's
that,
really
wasn't it? That in that deal for Gary Gardner
Yeah, I still wouldn't have
wasn't
done
it?
it though. It's like they're offering. We're going for Gardner, and we're trying to swap a player, and they're interested in you. I just wouldn't have done it. They've got promoted, yes, but it's like it was with Dean Smith. It looked like the right decision at the time, but it's always I always think that players that go from Blues to Villa or Villa to Blues, it never really works out in the long term. Really, I don't
No.
know about it really.
Mm. I think Gary Gardner's the only sort of one that I'd say Gary Gardner's been a decent servant for us, to be fair. I'd say he's
Yeah,
probably the only one that's, well, from memory, that's worked out. But I remember Jota for Villa. I swear he scored one goal right at the start and then never played for them again or something like that. I
no,
can't
yeah.
fully remember. But shame, because before he came to us at Brentford, he had a phenomenal season, didn't he? And then sadly his career just went downhill from there, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a mental transfer window, that one was.
And so many players, so many.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great, really. I think that Blues should really capitalize on something like that because I was a little bit disappointed with the Peaky Blinders stuff last season because although it was good having the scarves, which I will just point the camera over to there. Oh, it's just blacked out, actually. Can I point it up there?
Is that one the official Birmingham?
Yeah, it's just above my there.
Are you one of these scarf gates, are you?
No, I've only got two. Don't worry. It was in our seats as well, so it wasn't like we went over and nicked them or anything. So they were in our seats. But I feel like had we had like do you know what I mean? Like if we had like a official kit for that day or something.
Oh, that would
Like,
have
that
been
would be
so
sick, wouldn't
cool.
it?
I'd do anything I could to get my hands on like a one-time Birmingham kit or something. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that would have been amazing, wouldn't it?
You,
Even just like a replica of a kit that would have been worn back then.
do
I
you know what
don't
I
know.
mean?
Or
Yeah,
would have
completely
been it.
like
What?
yeah.
When's that sort of set? When were the Peaky Blinders about? Do you know?
Well, the Peaky Blinders would have been out before the original, the one on the TV series in 1919. But I always thought they were in like the late 1800s. That's why I always thought they
Yeah,
were.
yeah,
So the Blues would have been around at that time, that's for sure.
yeah. They were. They mentioned it in like the first episode or something. I
Mm.
think. No, I haven't watched much of it, but no,
Really?
that would have been amazing, wouldn't it? Just to have like a full Blues kit in. Oh.
I've watched the whole series about four
Oh
times
yeah.
now.
Have you? I need to
Yeah,
get on
just
it. I've watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes and then I haven't touched it since. But now I will give it a watch.
it's
I
very
got
dark. It's
COVID
very
back in
good.
April and I literally just spammed it.
Yeah.
10 days isolation, I just full sent it. That and Game of Thrones was done. No.
My mum and dad have been watching Breaking Bad recently as well.
You know, I was literally about to
Yeah.
say I started watching Peaky Blinders at the same time I watched Breaking Bad, and I had to finish Breaking Bad. It's that good, honestly. This is about blues, but I will just say Breaking Bad is the best TV show made ever
Yeah.
in all time. Gotta see it if you haven't.
I don't know how we got onto this point, but oh no, it's because talking about replica
Yeah.
kits and I think that's what something Blue should do because genuinely, if kit sales get quite a lot, then if replicas kit sales for like a one-off events, if we made like a special kit for Duke's last Memorial game, I don't know what it would look like or whatever. Maybe like a big forehead on the just as the sponsor.
Imagine.
That'd be great.
Implement certain rules for that game. You can only score via a header. You
Yeah,
must
you
cross
try
the
your
ball
header,
to the back
yeah.
post.
Only left-footed finishes as well.
Yeah. Jake and Doy, that's another player to get in.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Bringing Doy back. Sorted.
Oh man.
You'll see the new clinical ability that he's suddenly gained at Red Star, sorry.
He's leveled up, He's leveled up.
Yeah.
Bangs on top bins, you like right. No.
Right, let's get this back to the modern day Blues. We've got QPR on Friday night, just before Halloween. What are we all thinking about that game? Let's go to you, Zach, first. I mean, is a point good enough? Or should we aim for a win?
Yeah, it's I see it much like the Burnley game. I saw the Blackburn game as a little bit different, just being away from home and everything. I'd like at least a point from that game. I think for me, I do see Blackburn as drop points a little bit just because of the form we're on and the way we played. I think a point is what we should, because we've got 5 games before the World Cup now, and it's not an easy run. We've got QPR, Stoke, Millwall, and I can't remember the others, but I know they're tough games. So we've got to be picking up points from these next 5, despite how tough they are, if we want to go into the World Cup in a good position. I think at least a point is what we should be aiming for. All 3, but at least a point. But I think, much like the Burnley, I think it will play out much like the Burnley game, to be honest. It won't be easy, but I could see us both getting goals. I could see another 1-1 draw, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd be quite happy with that. What about you, Jamie?
I think we win.
Really?
I always say this, I know, but I think just there's got to be a response from that loss against Blackburn.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to be. Yeah, I just think it's there to win. Like, I think no team likes to play us at St Andrews this season. I'd take a point. Do I believe we can get 3? I do. I don't think, QPR are up there in the league and they've quietly done it. Like when we were at the Burnley game and someone at half time said, fucking hell, QPR's top of the league. And I was like, I've been quiet about that. Like,
yeah, I can't really think who's in the. I can't really think who's in the team for the QPR.
There's talk of Elias Chair going to Villa, actually, which is something that sprouted up today.
Maybe
I don't
we
know
can
if
injure him right before he goes there. Then.
I know. Have they still got Lyndon Dykes as well? Is he still?
Yeah, he
QPR?
definitely is there. I know that. Yeah.
I don't think who else they got. No, I don't think I could tell you. I know that's sort of the attackers they've had. Is that Willock? They got Willock?
I think they have him, yes. I'm not. We really should know more about this when it comes to.
I know. My knowledge of other championship teams, I won't lie, because teams chop it, especially managers these days. I used to have a pretty good understanding of who was managing there, but these days I don't have a clue. No. Honestly,
I watched them the other night. I don't know who they were playing against. I can't remember. No, I can't
They've got
remember.
Jake Hart-Salter.
Yeah, I know that as well. Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
He was. Yeah.
They
got
played
Chris
Luton
Willock,
Town.
Elias Chair, Sam Field, Taylor Richards. They've got a Doma.
Oh, of course, he's definitely going to score. He scored against us
Tyler
last
Roberts,
season,
Lyndon Dykes, Sinclair Armstrong. Yeah, they've still got a very strong kind of squad.
Oh, that annoyed me as well last season. That fucking Adoma celebration.
Stefan Johansson as well. They've got. He's not a bad little player in the middle.
Was anybody there for that game last season? The QPR one. Was it
at home
when Adoma started dancing in front of the fans once he scored?
Oh, I think I was actually. I think I might have sat in the paddocks that day.
Really?
What was the score again?
We lost 2-1 and Ike scored. It was on.
I think I might have been.
We should have got 3 points for Ike scoring.
Yeah, no, genuinely, yeah. God, honestly,
ref just needs to end the game.
Yeah.
If Ike scores, you stop the game. Full stop. No more.
Ike or Lecco, we should have won that game against Norwich in the cup.
Yeah. Ref should have just gone, lads. I know you're still 2-1 up, but Lecco's goal counts as 7. I'm sorry, but no.
Winner takes all.
You know what my hot take is? I actually didn't mind Chucks and Ike.
Yeah, I thought he was all right. Sure.
I thought he was all right.
I think he was utilised badly under management.
Yeah, for sure. In a better team.
I've said it many times. You all know my opinion of when I lost respect for Bowen, and it's because of Chucks and Ike.
Yeah.
Don't ever tell me you're implementing pace by bringing on Chucks and Ike and leaving Troy Deeney on the bench. Don't ever do that.
No, he was whenever he used to come on for us, I always felt he had at least created one opportunity or had one opportunity per game. I think, he was utilised poorly at Blues. I completely agree.
He had his own gravitational pull. That's why he was an absolute unit of a man.
I know.
An absolute tank.
Where's he at now? Is he at
Charlton?
Surely, yeah. No, we can't go back on players like that. They didn't score goals for us. He scored 2 goals for us, didn't he, Nico? One was on the floor and one was a pretty easy goal against QPR. He made it spectacular by smashing it into the roof of the net, but, he didn't deliver as much as he should.
He had the same chance, though, didn't he? Like 5 minutes later, though, and he...
Yeah, missed. Yeah.
Guess how old he is? This has just surprised me. Guess how old he is.
26 or 7, I want to say.
Tommy, what do you think?
29?
Yeah, he's 29. I thought he was way younger. I was going to say 22, 23 or something. 29.
Leko surprises me how young he is.
Going a bit off topic, do you know how old Mitrovic is?
He's
not old, 25, 26.
Yeah. That I could not believe that when I saw that the other day. When I saw Mitrovic is 26 years of age, blew my mind.
I know, yeah. I mean, he's a fantastic striker. I mean, we've touched on him a couple of times today, but he's someone who in the Championship, like when we faced him with the Clotet side, I mean, he was a good striker back then, but he wasn't nearly the striker he is now. I mean, like I don't know what's happened to him in those times, but I don't know whether that could happen to a few of our players, maybe.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
Optimistically.
It's nice we don't have to face him in the Championship this season, I won't lie.
Or for a while,
and
it looks like they're going to stay up.
Yeah, and he's doing wonders for my FPL at the moment, so if he can keep firing in the goals, that'd be brilliant. But no, phenomenal striker, isn't he? It'd be lovely to have a striker like that. And I think someone like that would suit Blues to a T, just a big striker, holds up the ball, good in the air. It'd be perfect.
He'd be like Prime Duke and Adams combined.
Yeah, 100%. And I tell you what, that Duke and Adams season, I didn't realise this, but Duke got double goals and double assists that season.
Yeah, he was in like the power. He was in the power player team of the year, I believe. One of the only players to get double in both. He was unreal.
Yeah,
wow. I mean, Che did so well in that team because of that game plan. Though it was literally, when in doubt, shit house a diagonal up to you. You's going to nod it across goal, and Che Adams is somewhere over there to just tap it in, and it worked a treat.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty football, was it?
But it worked. It was effective, and that's what I liked Rowett, because it weren't the prettiest of football under Rowett, but you knew what you were getting. 4-2-3-1. Then two midfielders, your Gleeson and whoever else it would be, would sit. The others would go, and when in doubt, just put it on Yuke's head.
Did we need a bit of that on Saturday? A bit of a rougher football, yeah.
I think we needed it, and I think we went rough too late. I think if we started the second half with Deeney and Alaba, I think that goal comes earlier. They were not comfortable. When balls started flying in the box, they were shitting bricks.
And is that how you would plan for us to go up against QPR next?
I think QPR are another team that likes to play nice football, and I think we just need to mimic how we did against Burnley. We need to mimic the Burnley performance in terms of they're going to have a little bit extra of the ball. They've got a very good squad, but every time we pressed Burnley up the pitch against Burnley, we won the ball. High up, we pushed them and we won the ball. And it could have been a bit of tactical brilliance by resting Hannibal in only even 25 minutes, because he will be like a dog on a bone again on Friday.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think it's always the Friday night game's a little bit frustrating because you hate losing the Friday night game, don't you? Because you go into that weekend and teams are just going to start taking over you. But winning that Friday night game, there's no better feeling, is there?
And it was nice. The last one we had a Friday night game, we were top of the fucking league at the end of the day, so it was great.
That hadn't happened for like a decade or something.
I know.
I screenshot on my phone, don't even care.
Yeah, just stop. That's the end of the season. That is now.
Stop the count.
Yeah, stop it. 2 games played, we're up.
That's it. GG. It's over.
Oh man, yeah, it's one of those games where I feel like it's all down to what team we start with. I feel like Hannibal has to start. I feel Deeney has to start. I feel like we need to keep that back 5 as it is. Can't go changing it around, and I don't think Eustace will as well. But it's no last minute thoughts of maybe Langella needs to start off the bench maybe instead, because he was another player who was a little bit flaky at times. Who I don't get me wrong, he was still playing well. But I feel like
who'd you play at left wing back then?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so don't let that sort of thought creep into his head.
I think fatigue, and I said it last time when we were talking about Burnley. I do think he gets isolated in terms of, it seems to be you've got Hannibal on that side. But then it always seems to be, and it's nothing against Chong or Bakuna, but it's always the weakest defensive-minded player gets left with the youngest defender. So it's always Chong, and Chong's work rate against Burnley was fantastic, but he kept getting left 2v1. But that was also down to Burnley playing a 3-4-3 where they were just winging push. But, like Bakuna as well, he's not going to think to track with Longello back unless he's got someone like Troy on the pitch who's going, oi. Move. I think we do. Troy's influence on Saturday was missed, I think, in the first half. When Hogan missed that 1-on-1, Troy's the first one to go up to him and go, mate, it's fine, chin up, we'll go again, go.
yeah, he's a player who needs, after watching that game against Blackburn on Saturday, he's a player who has to start every game, even if he's not going to bag us a goal every single game. I feel like he's one of those people who, attitude wise, is just going to get us over the line every single time. He's going to be over the shoulder, like you say, Jamie, just sort of keeping their heads up, making sure they don't lose focus. And that can be through like things through intimidation at times, because you know how it is. You know, sometimes somebody comes up to you, particularly on a football pitch, and tells you what to do in a bit of an aggressive way. It gets you focused. It makes you suddenly realise I'm not performing properly at the
Do you think
moment.
that second goal goes in if Troy Deeney's on the pitch?
In the when the
Blackburn game.
uh
Because I think he would have bollocked them if he was on the pitch for that first goal and gone, why are you giving him that much space?
it definitely would have woke Trusty up, I think, because I
I
think
think
he had a bit of a
Hannibal
knacker
and
of a first
Deeney
half.
both make that game winnable
Yeah,
from the
I
start.
feel like they're
I just
players that who have so much impact. It's almost you can't bring them off the bench. The other players like Bakuna and Chung, I feel like are better to bring off the bench because they've got energy in them. But I also think that's when you get towards the end of the game and you're more tired. I feel like your willingness to battle away increases, but your technical ability goes down because you're so tired. And I feel like if you work out just in any sort of way, I feel like after you've done like about 30 minutes, like doing some weights, you find that your technique goes out the window, but you sort of your willingness to carry on is sort of still there. It's like, come on, we'll power through these and get through to the end of the session. I feel like that's kind of like it is with the footballers as well. So like you bring Bakuna and Chong on, they've got the feet to sort of bring the game to like a really good, exciting end. Then, so like in that Burnley game, it worked well because when it got to those last few minutes, Hall
yeah.
and Chong, they're working the ball really well. And then our enthusiasm for the game is getting even more. It's getting pumping. And it's like, come on, we can do this now.
Yeah.
So I feel like start with Deeney and Hannibal, end with Chung and Bakuna
And
and
Hall,
Juki
bring Hall on.
and Hall. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's some
Nobody
points
likes
to make
coming up
there.
against George Hall off the bench. Like Zach said earlier, he's such a good player off the bench.
Yeah,
And this
yeah.
kid gets better every time we see him. I
Yeah,
think Saturday was good for him in terms of, I know he lost, but it's a learning experience for George Hall as well, a big
100%.
one.
Yeah,
You know,
completely
like
agree. Yeah,
he's not to blame for any of the goals. It was just that kind of a game where he's like, oh,
yeah. It was one of those days, wasn't it? Just nothing seemed to click for us. Um, Players didn't take the chances. It was just tiny little errors here. It wasn't like massive errors like we had with Bowyer last season, where it was just sort of
I'm not backtracking because I
yeah,
know you're going to laugh. I don't think it was. I am disappointed to lose, and I do think now. I think more your performance, what you were saying, is right. You know, we did let some stupid sloppy goals in,
mm,
but I think why I was happy with the performance. The more I think about it, it's like we say many times. Last season we would have just rolled over. At least
yeah,
this season we've got that bite back to us now, where we're like, we're not going to sit for 2-0. We're still going to go for a goal here. We still do. Last season, let's be honest, as Blues fans, if we went 2-0 down away from home, our us would just be like, fuck it, it's
yeah,
time to
yeah.
go.
If we went a goal down in any game, I'd always turn around to my dad and go, "That's it, game
Mm.
over."
When was the
Because
last time we won a game from
we
behind?
would never, I know, we would never go a goal down and come back and win the game. In probably
No,
the 8 or 9 years I've been a Blues fan, before this season, I reckon I'd seen it 2, 3 times max. It never happened. But
No,
this
I can't
season, we're
remember.
seeing, you're right, Jamie, we're seeing some fight from the team, and it's really nice to see. I completely agree with Hannibal and Deeney have to start. And I don't blame Eustace for not doing that this weekend, because I think that's something we've probably just learned off the back of this weekend. We were toying between the team ourselves and the podcast who starts at Blackburn. I think I even suggested Hogan and Chong up front, which is what he did. But I think we really noticed the impact Deeney and Hannibal have on the game when they're not playing. So
Yeah,
100% they start against QPR. For me, Chong still starts. I think usual defence for me. Hannibal and Bielik in the midfield, Chong in behind the two strikers of Hogan Deeney. I think that'd be my team.
100%. I think Chong's so much better. That's what I was saying. I like him. I just don't think his striker ability. I
yeah,
think
Yeah.
he's so much better behind the strikers. And that's
Mhm.
like nothing against Chong at all. And I feel for Bakuna really because he's having a good few games here and you don't see him getting in the team.
mm.
But
He's
it's a nice headache.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's not one we had last season, that's for sure, or in the
Right.
previous seasons. So how do you line up then? Well, Zach, actually, because you sort of touched on it a tiny bit there. So how
Yeah.
would you line up?
Yeah, I think the same defence as usual. Ruddy, Bean, Sanderson, Trusty, Colin Longolo, Bielik, Hannibal, Chong, Deeney, Hogan. I think that's our strongest 11 at the moment. I think it's the 11 that will play best. It's good because we've got those leaders like Deeney and Dean in the team. We've got that strength and physicality in Bielik, Deeney, Hannibal. We've got those attacking threats, Chong for a bit of speed, even Hogan for, the little bit of speed he does offer. So I think currently that is the best Blues 11 we could have.
No, I completely agree with you on that, actually. Yeah. Jamie, do you object to anything that was said there?
No, I agree with 10 of them. I think if you drop Chung or you start Bakuna or either, I wouldn't be upset either way. They're both, they both vie for that place in the starting 11. I think they're both class. And it's nice to have either one of them on the bench to bring on as well.
Yeah.
Imagine how annoying it would be 70 minutes of getting pressed by Birmingham City and then looking up and going, is that fucking Tahith Chung? Oh,
that is so true, yeah. I completely
some
agree.
37-year-old centre half looking at Tahith Chung warming up. You just got, oh, no, like,
yeah. I completely
none of this.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But Eustace loves a curveball, so you never know. Tommy,
Yeah.
we could be saying this right now, and then I look at the team lineup, and you got Jonathan Lecker and Jutkiewicz up top, and you're like,
Imagine.
I'd be a bit concerned if Lecco was starting. He hasn't started all season. I'd be like, what's going on there then?
I hope you don't listen to these because we pick on Lecco so much. So
I've been called out for moaning about Lecco before as well, so I do apologise.
Yeah,
it's all in good taste. We're not trying to be offensive to him. We do love the guy.
Not trying to say anything about the fact that he finishes like Manan. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not saying things like that.
That's not helping, Jamie.
He seems like he genuinely seems like a nice guy when you watch his
interviews.
And you're like, he's a lovely guy.
I feel like that's the way of sort of getting out of Twitter arguments at the moment. You just say that they're a lovely guy, and then whatever you say after that is sort of justified. No, it's the
the politician answer.
That you tweet, and then you find a robot.
Softens the blow, doesn't it?
What's your predicted lineup then, bud?
No, I completely agree with what Zach said. Actually, I'd go for Ruddy. Literally that back five, the midfield of Chong, Bielik, and Hannibal, and then Hogan and Deeney up top. I think that is a good lineup for QPR, particularly under the lights as well at St Andrews. The atmosphere was absolutely bouncing on Wednesday nights. I feel like that's exactly what we can do again. I feel like we have that ability to take the game to QPR, get them a bit nervous. I don't know how many fans they'll have brought because it's a Friday night game. Traveling up from London, it's not a very nice journey to make.
On Sky Sports as well, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I feel
they like it. We're always away in London midweek. See, they fucking like it.
Yeah, we've got fucking a few games on like Wednesday nights away at some down the fucking trot, don't we?
I think someone said for the last few weeks we haven't had a single Saturday 3:00 game in a while.
Yeah, I saw that as well. We haven't got one until the World Cup, have we?
Yeah, you're right. I think our next Saturday home game at 3:00 is like January, February time. It's a long way away.
Man, honestly.
I know.
Does anybody remember them? Was it Bournemouth and Borough? That was a 12:00 kickoff one weekend. They had their banners out and saying like this is ridiculous and everything. So
they give us the furthest away games on a weekend. Like, look at Middlesbrough away. Like, are you taking them on a Wednesday? Are you taking the piss?
Yeah, fucking honestly.
I'm surprised they didn't go, Blackpool away. You can have that on Tuesday as well, boys. Don't worry. Like,
honestly, yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, like, we have got a bit of a tough run till the end of the till the World Cup. Actually, we've got Sunderland is our last game. We've got Millwall and QPR as well. And they're tough games. They're not the greatest football teams, but in terms of like physicality, they'll drain us out a bit. So I feel like when it comes to that Sunderland game, we're gonna have to be a bit careful because going into a big long break like we do, going in with a loss or a bit of a disappointing loss maybe could be a bit crucial to our season, really. So I feel like we've got to soldier through to the rest of this till the World Cup period, and then when we pick it up against Blackpool and Reading, then we can sort of get back into the flow a bit easier then.
I think the issue is as well, like, we need to try and rack up the points now, really, because come January, if AFC Ramboys take back Bielik, I'm going to be fuming because that's a big loss for us.
Yeah,
I hope you
100%.
don't
I
have any
think.
blue shirts, Jamie, Zach, around your fucking door or anything, because I feel
Oh,
like you'll get absolutely.
I know. To be fair, I'm surprised. The number of Derby fans I've come across are actually quite. I mean, you see them in the
Yeah.
pubs and everything you go to, but in terms of where I'm living, there's literally none about. So I should probably. They're both in the wardrobe, so I should probably hang them up, shouldn't I?
Yeah, keep them in there and make sure that nobody
Yeah.
sees you.
I know.
Oh,
Trust me. But no, fingers crossed. I think the only good thing, or the only, well, not positive, but the only good thing about if Bielik does go is we do have the backup there. Like if he was in the team last season, we lost someone like him, game over, we'd be screwed. But the fact we do have the likes of Bakuna, Chong, Hannibal in the team, we're not losing Bielik and then having to find a 19, 20-year-old from the academy to fill his place. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the only saving grace if we do lose Bielik.
I would like to see more of JJ this season.
Me
yeah,
too.
I would
Me
too.
too.
Yeah, maybe it might be
good
worth
player.
giving him a couple of games before the break. Actually,
Potentially, so he gets like 5-10 minutes at the end of games these days, doesn't
yeah,
he?
he definitely,
He comes on
yeah,
in,
definitely
so.
that. Yeah, I definitely need to see more of him. That's for sure. Even if it's just bringing him off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Did he? He's not played for a while, has he? Or did he come on against
No,
Blackburn? I can't remember now.
I
He
don't
came
think he
on.
played.
He came on against Burnley, I think.
Did he? I don't
I
remember.
thought for 5 minutes. 100% recently, Jordan James has had 5-10 minutes on the pitch.
The one that made me laugh against Burnley is when Joe came on. Literally, they took the goal kick final whistle. I was like, oh.
I know.
Oh,
Change into your kit and put your shin pads on and your
Yeah.
boots on for that.
yeah, I was glad
Have your
that he had.
appearance fee.
I was glad that he had more minutes against Blackburn, though. He had like the
I
last
thought he
10,
looked
didn't
sharp
he?
as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like he needs to have those minutes. You know, he can't come on for the last 5. He's not at that point in his career where he's not like a 16-year-old who's coming on for the last 5 minutes to see out a game, is he? He's what, 17, 16, something like that now. He's towards that age where it feels like give him 10 minutes, maybe give him 15. You know, gradually move him into the team to where like at the end of the season he's almost like a constant sub within the second half, and then towards the
He's
start of next
huge
season,
as well.
he's
I didn't realise the
massive.
size of him.
Yeah, I really
He's
agree.
he's a replica of Jude, isn't he? They look the same, they act the same,
Taller
they
though,
talk the
isn't
same. The way they run as well is exactly the same. So you can
It,
tell
it,
their brothers.
it does make me look a bit. It makes me a little bit nervous because obviously my brother's 16. I'm looking at him and thinking, God, you better not be taller than me when I'm like.
If it's any consolation to you, Tommy, I'm the youngest and the tallest.
Oh God, it's
See,
gonna happen, isn't it?
I'm 5'8" and I'm 20. My brother's 17, nearly 18, but he's probably taller than me these days. I don't stand next to him anymore because I don't want to know the harsh truth of it. But I'd say he's probably taller than me.
My brother's 34 and 5'6", so don't worry about it.
You're all right then.
I mean, I wouldn't mind because I'm 5'11". I wouldn't mind if he was like a centimeter taller than me or whatever, because then it's sort of like, oh, your brothers, you look kind of the same height. But if I'm 5'11" and he's 6'2" or something, then that's just a piss take. It's like, come on, I deserve something for 20 years of being the older brother. God, I'm looking after him, fucking screaming and shouting at every fucking bad challenge that goes in, you know. Genuinely, when Derby equalised last season, he was absolutely infuriated. Like I've never seen him.
Like the away
the Bielik overhead kick, yeah, they go mad, and that fan runs across the pitch and starts having a go at us. He's running down the stairs. I have to turn the camera off at one point because I'm genuinely trying to hold him back from running down the stairs and actually running on the pitch and assaulting the guy. He was literally so infuriated.
I do think that Derby game, though, I think Karma bit us on the arse because we did that to Derby a few years ago, didn't we? We were 2-0 down the 90th minute and equalised.
Yeah, we were. That's a good point. That
so I think Karma bit us clean there back.
It did. And that was Bielik's first game back for Derby for months, I think. So it was always going to happen, wasn't it?
What's your score predictions for QPR then, boys? Like I've said, I think we're going to win.
I haven't given it some thoughts. I feel like a point would be good. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, saying a 1-1 would be good, but I'm not too sure. I mean, like I've not watched much of QPR this season. I don't really know what to expect from them. So I'd stick with 1-1 at the moment, but it might change depending on how much I look up QPR in the next few days. And as well for the team that we start, obviously, because my prediction can change a few minutes before really kick off. And I feel like it depends on what team. I feel like if we go for the team that me and Zach have been suggesting, I feel like we're in for a chance of nicking it maybe. And of course, if we absolutely shithouse it and win 3-0, then it's absolutely all over the moon. And but I'd be happy with a 1-1. That's for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think 1-1 as well.
You ready for the weekly round of Jamie's knobhead predictions?
4-2. Harley Dean scoring.
I'm gonna say 2-1 Blues.
Okay.
I'm gonna put Longello to score at any point.
Oh,
okay. Go on. Yeah,
that's a curveball.
That can feature in on the vlog with a little.
Do you want me to do it again?
A little photo of you holding your.
I could see a Longello assist for sure. I could see him assisting because he does put some good crosses into the box. He reminds me of Graham. He does them from deep as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
like 3 out of 10 of Graham's crosses are actually successful, but Longello's more like 3 out of 5, I'd say. But he crosses from deep like Graham as well, and I really like. He did that for the Juki chance, the diving header in like the last minute. So I could 100% see a Longello assisting, scoring as well. You know, he does get forward and does get into the box, doesn't he? So
on that note, I'd like to retract my statement from 3 weeks ago where I said Jordan Graham can cross the ball really well because he was fucking dreadful at whipping that ball in against Blackburn.
He's not been himself recently. It was before the sort of good war during the. Eustace sort of put him out of favour, didn't he? And before that, I remember there was a few games. There was one home game in particular where it was just dire. I can't remember who it was against. It wasn't that long ago. But...
His best position for us is left wing back if he's going to play. But Longello's there, but because he seems to do better when he's cutting in and crossing in. When he's just trying to do a straight cross on his right foot, it just goes out of play or straight at the keeper. I'm like,
yeah, that might be something for him to consider actually, because those 2 crosses that he had against Blackburn on the weekend were absolutely abysmal.
And we had everyone in the box at that point. You've got literally Harley, Duke.
I wouldn't even consider running at them, when he's got the ball in those wide areas, particularly who's in the box, just put it in there. Don't even...
It's halfway line, just send the ball.
Exactly, yeah. It's all the way in, just...
What did Thierry Henry used to say, didn't he? Thierry Henry used to say, look, all I have to do is put the ball in the right place. If they don't get on it, that is their fault. Yeah, if I put the ball in the centre of the goal...
That's what De Bruyne does for City.
Yeah. De Bruyne doesn't look half time, he's just not Ireland somewhere there.
It's always that spot, and I really appreciate that with some players, because particularly from playing inexperience, when players just do things that is in an area. I always hated when these players used to play to you, because it would either be too fast at you or it would be too slow, so you have to stretch for it and then try and get at it. But if they just put it into an area where you should be, it's like what Jordan Graham should have done on the weekend, puts it into the box. Anything can happen then.
Dion was doing it. Dion was the one doing it on Saturday. In the end, Dion was picking up the ball edge of the halfway line, just going, oh, fuck it, whip it in. And he was just sending the ball in like nothing.
Who put the ball in for... Was it Dini who put the ball in for Duke?
I think so.
Because he nods it down and then Hogan scores, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It was nice to
try
see
stuff
Duke
like that.
assist.
We do. We need to get some creative ideas. Cause...
I like the lovely football, but I like the fact that we can be ugly when we've got to be ugly now as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's changing of style and everything. The George Hall cross for Hogan wasn't very conventional. We tried something different. We tried to work it into the box, like a sort of drilled pass in towards the box. That was a smart idea.
Little R1X on FIFA, I got it.
You do what?
Little R1 and X on FIFA, little drill pass.
Sorted. Straight into your Erling Haaland.
FIFA 12, that ball was the best football to ever do, honestly. Just R1X.
Yeah, because you were one of them rats who had Doumbia up front probably as well, with a Barbo running off him.
Doumbia and Javinho.
Javinho as well,
yeah. Was it Doumbia, Javinho, and they had a Barbo in the same team? And
they all played for Roma that season.
That year.
I can't believe
Disgusting. That shouldn't have been allowed. That was disgraceful. Unreal. I think it was like 93, 94, and 92 pace.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that honestly, I remember getting them all for the first time. Right winger Barbo, striker Doumbia, left wing Javinho. I won about 15 of my first online games with them.
Yeah.
So much fun. It was not like nowadays, though. FIFA's terrible. Anyway, let's not talk about that because I can't stand the sight of it anymore. I was playing in Ipswich Career Road with my brother the other day. We got them back into the championship and it all fell apart from there. But yeah, we'll round the podcast off there, guys. It's been an interesting chat talking about how we can improve, and it's been interesting to see how we don't really talk about the sort of the conventional things about the game as well. It's interesting to talk about how we can change our crossing ability. which it's interesting to talk about, isn't it? So it's been another very good chat with you boys. It's been very interesting to get your thoughts, pick your brains on certain things, and talk to you about getting a potential Jutkiewicz memorial game as well. That's something to consider. That genuinely, I do think that's something to consider. So yeah, it's been another Blues Focus podcast edition, series 3, episode 10, I believe this is. We'll be back after the QPR game. Imagine it will be on Sunday. That one will be out because that's a Friday night game. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed. Leave your comments down below and get the conversation going. Whether you agree, whether you disagree with what we've been talking about, be sure to subscribe to the channel and follow us on Spotify or whatever it is. I think it's follow or share or one of the things. I need to find that out. So I've done that a couple of times at the end of this podcast now. But yeah, thank you very much for watching and keep right on.
Keep on.
Keep right on.